So in this video I'm going to talk about who is senior, who is junior in a programming world or in a coding world. Obviously, if you look at this subject from different perspective, you will see sometimes people look at it as how many years of experience you have in the industry, and sometimes it comes with, I don't know, some set of matrix around everybody's skills in an organization and different areas. So what I really found out is it really depends. Sometimes you see a person has got a lot of experience and he has got, like, I don't know, 10 years or 15 years of experience, but then the way he acts or she acts is just not really like a senior. And in this video I'm really going to talk about how I see a person as a senior and how I see a person or a developer as a junior or mid-level or even senior principal engineers or whatever you can call them. And these are just my ideas and these are how I look at it, but obviously I've been in the industry for about more than a decade and I can see how people actually label each other, why people label each other in this ways. One of the key things in this area is most of the time these titles are actually going to give you a credit. A lot of people disagree with that, but I have seen it in reality. If you have the title, if you're senior developer or if you are junior, mid-level, principal, team lead or whatever you call it, and people are going to look at you or listen to you in a different way, which is which is not professional, which is not really nice. And I have been a victim a lot of times, and I don't really like it when people are looking at you based on your title. So let's just look at it in this way. They are going to just say, for any reason, if you talk very well in your interview, if you had a soft skill, and then for any reason you're now a senior developer, senior engineer, then they are going to look at you in a different way. They're going to listen to you because they think you know more. And obviously if you're really senior, it makes sense, you know more or you have more experience. But most of the time I don't think it's the case, because especially these days, and if you are looking at the web development, for example, in a web things are changing quite a lot, very much. And if you have a lot of experience, for example, in a language or in a framework, within a framework, it doesn't mean you know everything else. And there could be like a junior who knows a framework, a JavaScript framework, JavaScript library very well, and then yes, you have experience behind the industry and the problems and a lot of things, but you don't know anything about this specific area. And I found it like sometimes unfair the way companies are looking at this subject and this matter in a very mechanical way, and I can see why. A lot of times you see, for example, there is a matrix and they're going through the matrix to just see who is senior, who is junior, who is mid-level, and etc. And to be honest, I think these matrices are just there because of a few reasons. One of them, and the main one, is the salary. Because if you're senior, they need to pay you that much money. And if you're junior, obviously they're going to pay you less. So one way to put you in that category is to just write some matrix, and then according to those matrix, if you know A, B, C, D, and E, now you are, for example, mid-level or senior. If you know, I don't know, 2 more things, then you are lead. And if you only know these 3 things, you are junior. But if you look at it, it's not really fair, because sometimes you're coming from a different background and you know a lot of things about different areas of the industry, but you specifically don't know, for example, let's say in this case, you don't know anything about or you don't know much about React. And the other guy knows a lot more. And because the matrix in this company they're looking for a React developer, it makes sense at some point to just say, yes, this guy is senior and the other one is not, which I don't think is the case, because let's say if you tomorrow leave this company and you know React very well, and now here in this company, because you know these three technologies, you're senior, it doesn't mean when you go to the next one you're senior as well, because how about if they don't use any of those technologies, or if they use those technologies a lot less than here? And that's why when you think about this matrix, I think they're very much internal, and at the end of the day they don't mean anything when you go outside, when you go out. And so this matrix, I believe they're there just for internal use, and most of the time they're just there for salaries. So they don't want to give you the title for any reason, and one of the main reasons I can see it is just salary. They don't want to give you that much salary, because I've been in different places and I've seen people which have like 3 or 4 years of experience. They just came out of university 3 years ago and now they're senior, and I don't know how. Yes, you can argue that sometimes, and as I'm saying, this conversation is just my point of view. But you can argue if you have like a few years of experience, like 3 or 4 years, how could you be a senior? Because have you seen enough problems? Have you solved enough problems? Have you seen different perspective, different point of views? Have you seen different code bases? Have you worked with different frameworks? Have you worked with different people? Have you seen different mindsets? No. And how could you be a senior? Or how could you expect to be a senior? I think this is one area. So obviously the year of experience is important, but I don't think this is really the boundary, or this is the hard stop. The other area is, I think as a senior you are going to looking at the problem from different point of views, and when you're senior you have seen a lot of problems and you have done a lot of mistakes that you know if you're going to take this direction or take this path, you might face the same problem or the same issue. And as a junior, probably you don't have much experience in those areas, or you haven't been there, and you don't know if going there and doing that things are causing you another issue or not. But seniors, they have those problems. And the other thing is, I think as a senior, as a junior, you can look at the problems from different angles. As a junior, you are just thinking about the solution right now, here, and how you do it. But when you think as a senior, you are going to see the problem from different point of view. And this is how you see a bigger picture. This is how you see this problem and the problem somewhere else. How are they going to collaborate with each other? How are they going to talk to each other later on? And you are seeing a bigger picture, a business perspective, and you are asking, what is this problem you're going to solve? And why are you going to solve it? But as a junior, probably you're going to think, how are we going to solve it? Who cares? You can use any language, you can use any framework, you can use anything. Obviously the right tools for the right job, I understand. But the first question is, what is the problem? Or why are you trying to solve this problem? What is this problem, and how this problem is going to really affect on a business? But when it comes to the junior, they're going to think, oh, this is a problem, and I know I'm going to write it in React, or I'm going to use JavaScript, or I'm going to use PHP, I'm going to use Java. But this is not really the case. This is not the problem. I think thinking about the problem as a bigger picture, and thinking how these different parts of business are sitting together and they're talking to each other and they are really going to collaborate, this is when you are a senior, and juniors are not thinking like that. And the other area, I think, when you can see when you can see a difference between senior and junior is that juniors usually they know all the languages, they know all the packages, NPM packages, they know all the technologies, they've heard all of them, they've worked with all of them. And if you just think about it, they've been in industry for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 2 years. But when you realize that, they know everything. And it's just funny because how could you know all of them? And why would you know all of them? And what is a guarantee you know all of them? Because you didn't have enough time to know all of them. Yes, you're interested in a technology, you may touch it, or you may wrote hello world, but it doesn't mean you know the language. It doesn't mean you know the concept. And you see a lot of them everywhere. And this is not really the case, because the more you get senior, the more you realize that you don't know a lot. You just think you know some, but the other areas you don't know because you don't want to say something, or you don't want to act like that you know it. And when it comes to practice, or when it comes to the time comes that you really need to use that technology, then you don't know a lot of things. So as a junior, you're going to say, yes, I know everything, but as a senior, probably you're not going to say that, because that's not true. You cannot know everything, and you shouldn't know everything. You should know just some of it. And I think if you really want to improve more, it's the time to deep dive in a technology and understand the core concept of this technology. So this is really the difference. The other areas which I see seniors and juniors are different is the way they write code, the way they go for the problems. And most of the time you see juniors are taking or choosing a language or choosing a shiny package or library because it's shiny, but they haven't thought about the stability or the support or the wider picture, which does everyone know about this technology, or does it worth to spend that much time for the learning curve for the whole team to know that technology or to know that library? And most of the time the answer is no, because the business is moving very fast, and most of the time, unfortunately, the businesses they're not really sacrificing that much time for, or they're not investing, I would say, that much time for their engineers or developers to go and learn something new unless it's critical, which makes sense. But as a senior, probably you're going to choose something which is more stable, which is going to be there for a while, and pretty much everyone feel comfortable. The solution is simple, because simplicity is the key. But as a junior, maybe if it is shiny, if it is hot, if everyone using it in the market right now, yes, let's use it. I don't care, everyone else should learn it. Or if you don't know it, oh, that's not good. So I think this is another area which they think differently. One more thing is, when you look at this problem as a senior and junior, most of the time, I think perfection doesn't exist. You cannot make anything perfect, because if you look at your code after 6 months, after a year, you realize that, oh, how crap it was, oh, it is. And you are going to learn a lot of things over time, and you realize that writing a complex code, writing a complex solution is not always good, because how about when everyone else is going to read your code? Do they understand it? So the readability is very important. The second thing is, there is no black and white in programming. Obviously, performance is most of the time the issue, but if you can achieve this solution from you can fix this problem with this solution, and you can fix the other problem with different solutions, sometimes you should let it go, because first thing, the reality is your code or your program or your solution is not going to live that long for any reason, because every few years technologies are changing quite a lot. A new developer senior or junior, I don't care. They come on board and say, that solution, this is so bad, we should write it like this. And they're going to find a way to convince the business sometimes, and they're going to rewrite it. So that's the first thing. So there is no perfection. However, you need to think about the security, you need to think about performance, you need to think about readability. And most of the time I realize that people are looking at this area as a religious matter. For example, they think, no, you only need to use this method, or you only need to write it this way because this is the only solution. But who said that? I mean, obviously there are always an argument to choose solution A or to choose solution B. And I can see both of them has got pros and cons. And I think as a junior, sometimes they are going to overreact and they just say, no, this is the better solution because I've seen it on a YouTube channel, or this is the better solution because of that. But as a senior, sometimes you might think, you know what, if you think that solution is okay, and I can see there is no problem, and there is no much performance impact, and there is no security problem, or there is no bug, okay, let's just go for that. Who cares? I mean, at the end of the day, this is a code. Obviously, they're going to judge us by our code, most people. As long as it is all right, let it go. Because I think every piece of code you can write, you can refactor it again. In 5 months, you're going to refactor it if you look at it, if you have enough time, if you're interested. If you're still interested in a problem, you're going to refactor it because you're going to write it differently. You're going to learn a lot more and you're going to write it differently. And I think when it comes to the junior and senior, they are going to look at this matter a little bit different. They think this is a perfection, we're going to go like this. But as a senior, you realize that, no, this is only another solution. This is a different way of writing it. This is a different way of looking at the problem. Nothing really more. And this is it for now. So that's how I think someone is senior, someone is junior. The way they ask questions, the way they approach for the problem, the way they react, the way they choose the library, the way they collaborate with teams, the way they want to help each other. For example, as a senior or as a junior, you can see if someone is trying to share or mentoring without being asked. This guy is senior. I mean, obviously there are cases people don't like to do it, and I understand it, and I've seen a lot of them, but majority of time, if you know something enough, you don't really care if someone else knows it. But I think if you know some a solution, or if you know some part of the system quite well, there are a lot of people they want to keep it for themselves because they think they are irreplaceable. But I think at the end of the day, if you read the code, you understand, and as a senior, you realize that if everybody knows it in the team, and if everyone else understands this area, it will be easier for everyone else, because then you can be more relaxed. You're not going to be the only one who knows it, and the whole pressure is on you because no one else knows it. And I think as a senior, you're going to share this area. You're going to share this knowledge. You're going to mentor other people. You're going to help everyone else. If there is a problem, you will be the problem solver. You are going to help everyone else. You're going to be responsible, and you're going to be accountable when there is an issue, when there is a bug in the system. You're not going to just escape. You're going to sit there, fix it, because people trust on you, because you are earning that trust by doing these things. You're earning this trust and respect in a team by being senior, by being experienced, by bringing a lot of values to the team. Not a lot of values to yourself, by bringing a lot of values to the team. Because at the end of the day, either you're going to win with team or lose with team. So, and you need to stand with the team. So, seniors are different, juniors are different. Years of experience are important. Knowing technologies are important, not exactly, but the majority of thing is the mindset. How you think and how you react and how you deal with people are the most important part. And I just see it most of the time. People have wrong titles, and because they can talk louder, because they could speak better in an interview, and most of the time it's not fair, because you can see when things get tough, then seniors are the one who's going to really help, going to solve the problem. And obviously the soft skills are important, and a lot of people are using it, overuse that to get to the higher much sooner. But I think it is the team responsibility and the business responsibility to identify these things, and the person itself is also need to act like, if they think they are seniors, they need to act like that. If they are juniors, definitely they will act like juniors. No matter what is the title, they're gonna act differently. And this is how I think about it. I would be very happy if you just share your ideas and your point of view about this area. And if you're senior, why do you think you're senior? If you're junior, why do you think you're junior? And just let me know how you think about this subject. And please, if you like the video, don't forget to like the video, because it's very important for the YouTube algorithm. And subscribe. I'm gonna put a lot of videos about my point of view on a different perspective in different areas, on a web development, on a software engineering, and as a programmer, as a developer, I'm going to just put a lot of videos about my ideas and my experiences in this industry. Thank you so much.